afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. I remember in the Bible somewhere that Israel's rich agricultural resources is described as a land of flowing with milk and honey. I would say that when it comes to Alberta, I would describe a land flowing with oil and gas. But where are they going? That's why I'm very pleased to be invited by the Alberta Oil Magazine, which provides a platform for the ladies and gentlemen today here to discuss the future of the energy resources here in this country. So really, thank you very much for the invitation. So I was asked by the host to talk about China's investment and involvement in this country's oil and gas sector today. Indeed, the past few years saw energy cooperation become the highlight of the Canada-China strategic partnership. Still remember CNOOC's acquisition of Nixon last year attracted broad attention here in this country and beyond. But before diving into today's topic, I want to take one step back and share with you some facts and my thoughts on China's energy development and profound change of global energy landscape. Because they do not only underpin the rationale for China's investment in Canada's energy sector, but also help to define the priorities of our cooperation in this area in the future. So, as the world's largest energy consumer, China accounts 20% of the global primary energy consumption. The percentages of coal, oil, gas, and non-fossil energy in China's total energy consumption last year were 68%, 18.6%, 5%, and 8%, respectively. As the economy is expected to keep growing at a fast pace, and the per capita energy consumption just reached the world average level. China's today's energy consumption will continue to increase steadily in the years to come because you know that we're aiming to double our economy by 2020 on the base of 2010. So it is estimated that China will account for more than 30% of the world's primary energy consumption by 2030. So how will China secure the energy it needs to power the economy in growth? First and foremost, we'll continue to rely on our domestic supply. China's primary energy consumption last year equaled 3.6 billion metric tons of standard coal. While being the world's largest energy consumer, it is also the world's largest energy producer. China's energy self-sufficiency has been for years around 90%. But the major source of the energy is coal, whose efficiency is low and emission is high. According to our 12 five-year plan for energy development, China will cut down on the consumption of coal, and its shares in the total primary energy consumption will be reduced to around 65% by the year 2015. So meanwhile, the share of gas and non-fossil energy will be increased to 7.5% and 11.4% respectively. And annual oil output will stay at 200 million metric tons, with its share lowered to about 16%. So to achieve this goal, China will intensify the exploration and extraction of conventional fossil energy, as well as R&D of coal-based gas and shale gas technology, so as to increase its share of the unconventional gas in its total gas supply. At the same time, China will improve energy efficiency and promote the use of cleaner and more eco-friendly technologies. Secondly, we will fill the gap between domestic supply and the total demand through the international energy cooperation, particularly through trade. Last year, China's dependence on oil and gas imports reached 56.4% and 29%, respectively. These figures will grow to about 60% and 35%, respectively, by the year 2015. Most of China's imported oil comes from Middle East, North Africa, and Central Asia. Angola and Venezuela are also important suppliers. Natural gas through pipelines mainly comes from Central Asia, with LNG supplies are rather diversified, including countries in the Middle East, Africa, Latin America, and Australia, where I was posted. Furthermore, the Chinese energy companies have invested in more than 40 countries throughout the supply chain in the oil and gas industry. In 2011, the total amount of equity, oil, and gas acquired by the Chinese investors reached 90 million metric tons oil equivalent, 10% of which was shipped back to China, while the rest was sold on the international market, which helped to stabilize both international prices and cost of China's imports. By investing abroad, these companies have successfully diversified their assets and learned the most up-to-date know-hows in international operations. Many of them have become partners of multinational energy giants, including some in Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, China's development has helped the change of the global energy landscape. The center of gravity of the world energy consumption is shifting eastward due to the fast development of China and other Asian countries. In the year 2011, Asia alone consumed 39.1% of the world's primary energy. it is anticipated that over the next 20 years, China and India combined will account for 94% of net demand growth in oil and 30% in gas. So Asia's role as the world's major energy consumer and a strategic buyer will become more prominent. Another significant change of the global energy landscape is the emerging of new center of the energy supply due to the sudden boom of the unconventional energy exploration, such as oil sands and shale gas. Among others, Canada's status as the emerging energy superpower and a much-touted idea of energy independence of the United States are particularly compelling. Many people have even started to talk about North America's potential of becoming new Middle East. So the breakthrough in these new technologies is the game changer for the unconventional energy industry. And the technology featured by the lower cost and high environmental standards has become the focus of competition and will surely enter new frontiers such as polar region and deep seas. And we now have more options in securing energy supply and dealing with the global climate change at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, the above-mentioned changes have significantly impacted on the world energy supply-demand structure, prices, and the development of the whole energy industry. And I think if anyone could have better filled that pulse, it is got to be you people. For China, the changing global energy landscape has brought opportunities of improved energy security and diversified supply. And for Canada, an urgent task is to play to its full strengths and make the best use of international market and capital to maximize the benefits of its huge energy industry. Having said above, it has become all the more necessary for our two countries to deepen our energy cooperation for win-win solution or for win-win results. According to the incomplete statistics, the Chinese investments in Canada's oil and gas sector totaled $30 billion by the end of last year, accounting for 63% of the overall Chinese investments in Canada. China's investments in Canada's energy sector have brought tangible benefits to both sides. Taking Sinopec's acquisition of Daylight Energy, for example, Sinopec kept management team of Daylight and investment was increased by a large margin after the transaction. By the end of 2012, Daylight's oil and gas reserve had increased by 26%. And of course, all these figures are coming from the report of the Daylight. The Chinese companies are also providing technological services and participating in the pipeline construction in Canada. Apart from, what are the drivers for Chinese investments here in Canada? Apart from the abundant reserves of oil and gas, the stability, the mature legal system, regulatory transparencies, developed financial markets, and integration with the international market are all making Canada a very attractive destination. Last year, the Canadian government announced adjustment to its foreign investment review guidelines. We have noticed the more nuanced requirements for foreign companies seeking to invest in Canada, including oil, sand sector. I think these adjustments serve to provide a clearer and more transparent policy framework for foreign investors, and will help them to make most appropriate business decisions, whether to come here or to other countries. Ladies and gentlemen, during Prime Minister Stephen Harper's visit last year to China, the leaders of our two countries agreed that China and Canada should endeavor to build a long-term, stable, and win-win partnership in the energy and resource sector. Both the government and the business communities on two sides have made tremendous progress towards this goal, but there's still a lot more we can do in the future. The following is my suggestions. Number one, we should further optimize the role of relevant institutions for bilateral energy cooperation. Our two countries have established an energy policy dialogue on a regular basis, and we also have coordinations regarding energy cooperation under the mechanism of strategic working group, which is a vice ministerial level interdepartmental consultation framework. We should make full use of and better improve these existing mechanisms so as to strengthen the two-way communication, coordination, and planning in energy collaboration. Last year, our two countries signed FIPA, and it was widely applauded by the business community. Now the Chinese side has already rectified this agreement. We look forward to the early rectification from the Canadian side so that the investors and the business people from both countries can harvest benefits as soon as possible. So, number two, we should have more breakthroughs in energy trade. Should the large-scale export of Canada's crude oil and gas go to China materialize, it is very likely that Canada's trade balance with China will turn from deficit into surplus. And that's good news for Canadian economy. I understand that there now exist some bottlenecks in exporting Canadians' energy products to Asia countries, including China, in large scale, especially when it comes to the infrastructure. But I still have to say that we will not see it done if we never start. And China is willing to deepen the cooperation with Canada in this area. So number three, we should have a comprehensive and integrated pattern of energy cooperation. Canada's energy wealth is not just what you dig up from the ground. It also includes this country's outstanding enterprises, management expertise, gifted geologists, engineers, and experienced bankers and lawyers. Right? So in this area, we can learn from you. Some people say that you have too many lawyers. They come to China. Help us to understand international business. And China's strength is not limited to capital and market either. We also have advantages in cost management and technology. Therefore, full-fledged energy cooperation between our two countries could well go beyond trade and extraction to the areas of production, refining, storage, transportation, distribution, as well as manpower training. In addition, we can join hands in exploring the market of a third country by combining our strengths. In that way, we can make the pie of energy cooperation even bigger. So, number 4, I should say there should be more room for growth for Canadian companies in China. There's always two ways cooperation. China's energy industry is open for foreign investment, and we encourage foreign investors to partner with local companies in China to explore and extract oil and gas, including coal-bed gas and shale gas. The Chinese government has just approved Shell's production sharing contract with Chinese National Petroleum Corporation, CNPC, 2 months ago, which will allow both sides to explore and produce shale gas in China's Sichuan province. Some Canadian companies are also doing quite well in China. For instance, the deep water gas project in the South China Sea jointly operated by CNOOC and Husky Energy headquarters in Calgary is well underway and is expected to go into the production sometime this year. China does welcome the Canadian companies to bring some cutting-edge energy technology in their cooperation with Chinese partners. Number 5, people should have more objectives and square perceptions of Chinese investments in Canada. The debate of the Nixon deal last year left me with the impression that public opinion environment for Chinese investments in Canada are yet favorable. And one word I said when I was interviewed with Global Mail, say, business is a business. So this is very important. I wish to stress 2 facts regarding the Chinese investments. The first one is that China is a market economy, and China's state-owned enterprises, such as CNOOC, are independent market player. To be very frank, what they are pursuing is profit. They are independent market player whose investments in Canada's energy sector, just like in other countries, they have invested in many other countries. So they are sheer market-driven decisions, not by the government, by their company, by the board of the company. So while investing here, they have made due contribution to the local employment, community development, and fulfill their social responsibilities. I heard just with my friends today that after the takeover, Nixon's seems to be doing quite well. What I reply? I say, no news means good news. So, in fact, China-Canada Energy Corporation can't go fast with the SOEs because almost all the big energy companies in China are SOEs. And those with clear strengths in the capital and the technologies are also SOEs. This is determined by the China's political system. Is the SOE's main player of China's economy with supplements of the private companies. That is also a kind of diversification of our economy. That's diversification of our economy. So this is our way of development. The second one is that the Chinese investors did not, come to Canada just to grab this country's wealth of resources. They come to join you to participate in the business, as you went to China 30 years ago to participate in China's economic development. Thank you very much for your involvement. That's why we have a very fast development in the last 30-odd years. So the major motive driving them here is to optimize the portfolio of their overseas investments and learn the best technology and management know-hows just like everyone else. Some of you may have contacts or even cooperation with Chinese companies, and I believe most of them have left you with a nice impression. Of course, the responsibility to improve public image depends mainly on good practice and effective PR by the Chinese investors. I still hope that you also can help explain to Canadian people with your own experiences that what China wants is in its energy cooperation with Canada is nothing but a win-win scenario. In conclusion, I wish the energy cooperation between our two countries continue to score better and more achievements in the future so as to inject more positive energy to this important strategic partnership between our two countries. Thank you.